Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Amit is not here. And no, I wasn't smart enough to figure out how to get bricks behind me. I apologize. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Told you that I'd fill in to some degree, although nobody can really fill in for Amit. If he ends up hopping on, I am going to get off because he never answered if he's actually coming on or not. Now, a lot of people said he wasn't. So I said, you know what? I will fill in. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Starbucks, coffee. I didn't realize it was still raining when I left. It was pretty wet outside when I crossed the street to go get coffee this morning. So you guys are going to enjoy coffee. I'm going to screw up the market open. And then everybody will be even more happy to see him when he's back on Friday. Look at June. Why are you up so early? Ray, why are you up so early? You guys are on the West Coast. What is going on here? Chels, what's going on? Good day. What's going on? KK, what's going on? Look at all the regulars here. Do I have a bell? We're going to have to see at 9:30 when the market opens if I have a bell or not. Well, a lot of things going on. I got up a little early, started reading the news. I'm not liking what I'm seeing. The futures are down. The Dow is down 410 points. The S&P is down 45 points. The NASDAQ is down 161 points. Oh, this is big. 213,000 people in the U.S. filed for unemployment this past week, below expectations of 214. Still too many people. Still too many people. So, unfortunately, 6 tankers were attacked in the Gulf and Strait of Hormuz. That came in 12 minutes ago. Iran stepped up attacks on oil and transport facilities. Oil tankers burn as Iranian strikes defy U.S.'s claims. We do have sources saying Iran is allowing India-flagged tankers through Hormuz as first tanker arrives. Citigroup shut most of its UAE branches temporarily as banks evacuate offices in the region. Oil is currently jumping again. We have oil at 93.14. I'm going to share this chart. Look, I thought it would be over early this week. It's not. We'll see what happens. I certainly don't want prices in the 90s. The CPI report yesterday surprised the hell out of me. I really thought the consensus numbers were going to be significantly higher than they were. They weren't. So that was a good thing. Newsflash. This isn't ending anytime soon. I get it. It may not. All right, let's see where we're at. Let's bring up Webull. AMD, for those of you that are interested in semis, is down pre-market. It is down almost 1%. Amazon, down almost 1%. 0.5%, I'm sorry. 0.5% for Amazon. Broadcom is down 0.89%. Alibaba, for those of you that are playing the China markets, is down 1.02% in early trading this morning, pre-market trading. BMNR, down 21 cents. Energy Transfer is up a little bit. Energy Transfer is holding strong around that 1850, 1875 mark. Looks like Ethereum is starting to go up a little bit. It's trying to make a move on 2100. Robinhood, down almost 1.5%, trading at 77.56. Meta Platforms down almost 1%. I do not follow USO. I'm not looking to hedge oil. I have several long-term investments in energy. I'm not looking to hedge. I have built my portfolio a very specific way, so it's anchored by certain things. And when we have instability like this, there are sectors that should perform well. Microsoft, pretty much flat, down just a little bit less than 0.5%. Charles, please do not text and drive. We appreciate that you are here. Safety first. Safety first. Nebius, down over 2%. Netflix, down 0.6%. NVIDIA, looking interesting, down 0.78%. Oracle, flat. Palantir, big one for the community, pretty much flat. I think everybody would be happy about this. I got to tell you, I'm surprised Palantir is holding up the way it is. I really am. Even though it's in the right sector with defense, I would have thought we would have got more of a downswing. The Qs, relatively flat this morning, down 0.5% or so. QXO, down down about 1%. SoFi cannot get out of its own way. I have no idea what's going on. Down almost 2%. I do have my theory. I am planning on mispronouncing some words to make it feel like Amit is here, even though he is significantly better than me, as Matt would say. We got the SPY down just over 0.5%. Tesla's pretty flat right now. Tesla's pretty flat. Taiwan Semi, down 1%. VG, community favorite here. VG, thanks to Matt and Chris, up 2.6%. Zeta, down 1.7%. Those are the ones I have on my watch list. Let's see what else we got going on. Oracle's expecting to increase restructuring costs by $500 million. So we got a new report, not using Matter Tevis' site, a new report's coming out. The 20 stocks hedge funds love the most. This is a little crazy. I don't know how this could be right. Let's take a look at this. I feel like this is significantly different than what Matt and Tevis' sites are showing. I feel like I haven't heard of some of these companies. This is a crazy list. Crazy list. How can these be the stocks the hedge funds like the most? That's wild. Absolutely wild. Well, I don't know that the futures are going to get better. I mean, crude is up almost $6. That is not good. Well, let's see what they're saying. I pulled 3 videos from this morning. So give me one moment. I'm going to figure out which one we should play first and watch them.
What do you make of the latest news flow and what it means for Europe?
I mean, your math at the beginning of this episode is spot on. This is 400 million barrels. It's a record in terms of release from the IEA, but it's still equivalent to 20 days through the Strait of Hormuz. We've seen that in the markets. Prices haven't really gone down since that release. And as you've already discussed, since more attacks today, they've gone up. So while releasing barrels is helpful and it can do something to calm markets slightly, and I think it is still doing something to calm markets, this is not a fundamental solution for Europe. And Europe, for as long as this crisis goes on, will remain exposed to energy markets. By the way, both oil, but also natural gas, which we haven't discussed yet.
Let's talk about natural gas. We're still getting shed loads of LNG from the Russians as well. There is a 2027 target to not do that anymore, but it's hard to see how Europe can't when it needs to find other sources. And I've had other commentators saying, look, we don't want to change our reliance on one set of oil and gas for another, i.e. rely too much on US products coming into the continent.
It's tricky. Again, natural gas, it's 20%. It's mostly Qatari LNG, which no longer can move through the Strait. Most of that was going to Asian consumers. But now what we see is this reverse scenario to 2022, when Asian buyers are coming onto the market and we see US LNG cargoes in the Atlantic turning course and going to Asia. So this is pushing up prices in Europe. We see natural gas prices doubling now. I would say for natural gas, there is some demand side flexibility. You can have some power sector switching. Industry will be able to play a little bit with demand. And one benefit for Europe is that it now comes out of the heating season. It's just warming up over here in Europe. And hence the challenge now is about how do you ensure you get enough natural gas in storages over the summer ready for next winter, which is still very challenging, but far less so than trying desperately in November to get gas in to heat homes.
Ben, it's interesting, this release from the Strategic Reserve, but of course, it's not going to come online immediately, is it? There will be logistics. All of these are kept by the individual countries. Some will be quicker at releasing them than others. And of course, this is crude, isn't it? It still has to be refined before it can get into the system and actually be used in industry.
Yeah, the two elements, we don't know exactly when this will come to market. And I'm sure policymakers thinking about this, and I think there was a little bit of discussion in the IEA, are probably not sure how quickly to bring this to the market, because it really, again, depends on how long this is going to go on for. If we knew, which of course we could not know, that in a few weeks this would be over, then you can bring them to market today. But if there's a worry that this is going to go on for weeks and months and even longer, then it might be a temptation to bring it slower to market. I'm not sure that plays in. I think they've made the decision and they'll bring it to market. And then there's the second element you raised, which is that this is crude oil, and we will see increasing bottlenecks on the product side. That region, particularly for jet fuel, for kerosene, is very relevant. And I think we'll likely see tightness in the market there, only growing over time, which this crude release can help. It still, of course, needs to pass through a refinery. And again, this is back to 2022 with diesel, then was the case coming from Russia. You always see these bottlenecks further along the oil supply chain.
I'm just looking at the oil price numbers there as you were talking, and this is almost a worst case scenario for the IEA, isn't it? It's not just that the market hasn't responded or has been lukewarm to the release. The prices have surged despite the biggest release in history. And I just wonder, what else can they do? What else is in the armory to try and deal with this?
It's demand side. There's no more on the supply side you can do. I mean, you'll start seeing alternatives, some other supply. I'm not sure in America, there's a little bit of spare capacity, not too much, I don't think, but you'll see some supply side reactions. You'll see in the Middle East, there'll be some attempt to get barrels to the market that don't have to go through the Strait, but it's going to be no substitute at all. And eventually it's going to have to be demand side measures. I think we're already seeing Asian economies coming out with some sounds on how they're going to try and do this. And I think for policymakers, the challenge is to try and do demand side measures in as least a painful manner as possible, trying to do it in a sensible manner, avoid sort of rushes to the petrol station to fill up, and try and do this in a smooth way. But ultimately, there is no way to replace 20 million barrels of oil and natural gas, which come through the Strait of Hormuz. And it's going to have to be an adjustment on the demand side over the coming weeks and months, or getting the Strait opened again.
Yeah, but I'm more optimistic over the medium term, Ben, because I think a process that started with the start of the Russia-Ukraine war has accelerated the adoption of more forward thinking across Europe about pipelines, about infrastructure, about grids, and also, dare I say it, about alternatives as well, with some really sensible conversations about the alternatives as well. One thing that these higher prices do is obviously create a better financial incentive for alternative measures, including electric and what have you. So medium term, I think this could act as a positive catalyst.
Strongly agree. I would point you to two countries to keep an eye on in the next days and weeks, which are Spain and Portugal. Spain and Portugal, I think all of Europe took the correct message from 2022, which was to double down on the energy transition, get off imported fossil fuels. But particularly Spain and Portugal really pushed ahead and installed a lot more solar and wind. And they're now at the point where for many days, they're able to meet electricity demand, particularly without the need of natural gas, or for many hours at least. And it will be an interesting one to monitor, but I suspect that in the coming days and weeks, we'll see a little bit of a decoupling in prices, where electricity prices, which of course are relevant here because natural gas so often sets the price there, will be lower in Spain and Portugal than in other parts of Europe, countries like Italy, where particularly natural gas is still playing a crucial role. But that long-term message that the only solution to this volatility that comes from importing oil and gas is reducing your demand of imported oil and gas. And we know how to do.
All right. I was trying not to laugh the entire time because of the comments. You guys are great. PB, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Amit does not have to worry. I am not taking his job. He is way better at this than me, nor would I even try competing with Amit. Now, Lena is here. What's going on, Lena? During this interview, I started thinking about what Matt's been saying, and yes, so for everybody, Amit is fine. There's nothing wrong with Amit. He is at AIPCon. And I am actually checking his channel because if he comes on, I'm getting off. I don't believe he's coming on today. At least that's what everybody in the chat said. So if he comes on, I will be getting off, but I don't believe he's coming on today. Now, Matt could be right. This could reinvigorate the whole conversation around renewables. Specifically solar. I think solar is more applicable than wind. And we could see increased talks about this only because when you have, exactly like this gentleman said, it's going to be pretty hard to bring that much oil back onto the market. We could get a demand shock because of limited supply over the next couple of weeks. If this doesn't get cleared up, I wouldn't be surprised if something like an end phase starts doing well. I don't know. We got to see. I haven't looked into these solar stocks in a very long time. I have an indirect play in renewables, in Enbridge. And you know what I realized just now? Forgot to put the disclaimer up. We're going to add something to the disclaimer. Don't confuse me for Amit. I can never replace Amit. Please keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. I have no idea what your situation is. Please do your own due diligence. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Oh, PB. Amit Quant saying Thursday morning pre-open. I will try to figure out what to mispronounce also, everyone. So my indirect play is through Enbridge. They have a $8 to $10 billion book in the renewable space. It's not a large portion of their business, but it is probably my only exposure to that segment of the market right now. Let me look at what Enphase is doing. I know that used to be a hot one. All right, let me bring this up. So Enphase is actually rallying a little bit. Not sure how much of a play this could be. I mean, this was over 300 at one point. It looks like it's established a bottom. Still got 16% short. Let's look at the financials real quick. So $5.5 billion market cap. This is not bullish. So when there is a huge push for renewables and subsidies with the well, what's the word I'm looking for? I'm still not fully awake. Coffee has not kicked in yet. The rebates, they only got up to 2.3 billion in total revenue. Revenue is down significantly. What is that? About 30% or so quick math. They're still profitable, which is good. Still profitable on the bottom line. Balance sheet. Let's see if they had to take on debt. Let's see what's going on. Still have over $1 billion in cash on hand. Where's the long-term debt? Okay, so they are a non-leveraged company with only $572 million in long-term debt and over $1.5 billion or around $1.5 billion in cash on hand. That's very good. Stock-based compensation, what are they doing? 214 million stock-based. They're giving out more stock than they're generating profit. That I don't like. Free cash flow, not great. Let's see what the street's looking at here. The street is looking that EPS is going down this year. It is trading at a very low multiple, but I need to do more work on this. I don't know that a couple of weeks of oil disruption is going to significantly impact the solar companies to where they see increased demand. It's an interesting idea, we'll say. It's definitely an interesting idea. Please don't do this. Obviously, we know this is a joke, but please don't do this. All right, let's go back to the futures. Yeah, futures are holding steady down. Crude 92.98. 92.98. Do I have a bell? I may have a bell for 9:30 when the market opens. I may have a bell. And just so everybody knows, I may be warming up to Reddit. We will be doing a very large deep dive on Reddit. So I'm excited. My view on CoreWeave, I like Nebius more. I took a position in Nebius. So nothing against CoreWeave. I think it's a good company. I like Nebius better. Am I drinking instant milk? No. I'm with you that I may not be a fan of Reddit, but I also don't use all the products from all the companies I've invested in. The reality is the numbers on Reddit are interesting. We went through them last night. Dougie Dallas is in the chat. Dougie, why are you up so early? I guess it's not that early right now for you. 2 weeks. You need to watch over me. Make sure I don't get in trouble, Dougie. 2 weeks. Back to Reddit real quick. I don't use the site. I don't understand why people use the site, especially with Claude, OpenAI, Gemini, and Grok. At the same time, they are growing like a weed. They are monetizing their assets, and the recent downturn has made it look very compelling. The option market is also lucrative. I may take a flyer on it. I moved out of service now, and I have that cash sitting as cash right now. I've been looking to put that money to work, and Reddit's up there on ideas. I don't know if it's fake growth. I mean, they have a real auditing company, so we'll see. Sex sells Reddit. I have no idea what you mean by that. What do you mean by that? Sydney, please elaborate. That could push me not to invest. Michelle, what's going on? I'm too old for Amit. Yeah, I know. I got gray in my beard. What can I say? We can never replace Amit. We're not trying to replace Amit, everyone. He just can't do it today. Invest in Tesla. They have solar. Hollis, what's going on? There's a ton of adult content on Reddit. Really? That could, so look, I don't care how people make their money. At the same time, I get worried about regulation, FTC, that type of stuff, and also the negative sentiment around that industry. So that would make me very skeptical about actually investing in it. So, all right, I'm going to do a little bit more research on that. But the numbers do look good. We'll see. Rocket Lab has solar also. Chels, you better not be driving. You better not be driving. Matt has driven that into my head that they have a huge array of solar. So we'll see. It's not gray, it's chrome. That's great. That is great. Well, you guys are going to have to see at 9:30 if I got the bell or not. And for some reason, I couldn't get my streaming for CNBC to come up. I have a streaming app for CNBC on my computer through my cable provider, but when I actually try sharing it, it won't come up. I don't know why. So I need to figure that out later. It is not looking good. Oil is really jumpy right now. SoFi is starting to come back just a little bit. It's only down 1.94%. It's no longer down more than 2%. I think SoFi is really caught up in the narrative about it's a bank. I really do believe that. Okay, Chelsea's at the office. That's all that matters. She is not texting and driving. Day trade oil. Can I tell you something? I'm going to tell everybody a little story. So I have one very close friend that is a control freak and OCD to a degree. And I always said at one point in my life, I am going to buy a futures contract of oil in his name and let it expire on purpose. So he has to take delivery of it. A regular oil contract is 1,000 barrels. Now they have micros and they have minis. I believe the mini is 100 barrels and the micro is 10 barrels. I believe I would love nothing more than to buy a future contract of 1,000 barrels in his name and let it expire. So a huge truck comes up and starts unloading 1,000 barrels right in his front yard. I just think it would be hilarious. One day I would like to do that. Michelle, what are you baking today? What are you baking today? I like SoFi going forward. I am very interested in Q1 earnings. Q1 earnings are going to be so important, and I may be one of the only ones that is hung up on the entire technology stack, I want to see them win our RFPs. Do it for the milk contracts. I don't know if you can just buy one, but you could do a micro contract of 10. RFP is request for proposal. So on large scale deals, typically a company won't just make phone calls and just go with what they find. They'll actually do their due diligence, find 5 or 10 companies. They'll send out a packet, which is called a request for proposal, and send it to the rep or the person who's the area manager, and then have them fill out a lot of different questions, submit a bunch of different information by a certain date. When that comes in, they'll read through it. If they like the responses, they will set up a meeting for them and the company as a pre-screen, meet with them, and if they think that they are sufficient, usually companies will take at least 3 companies, usually more like 5 for large-scale deals, and then they'll get the subject matter experts from their company to meet with them and go through the process. And then after they chisel it down to 2 or 3 finalists, they'll get pricing. Normally it's 3 because a lot of companies have purchasing policies where they want 3 prices, 1 for auditing purposes, 2 to show that they did their due diligence to the board, and then they go through negotiations, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, there were more oil tankers attacked overnight. We went over that earlier. There were 6. Let me see if there is update on that. Hold on. We go back to Reuters. I like Reuters for that. Yeah, we're still, as of 54 minutes ago, it's still saying 6 tankers attacked in the Gulf and Strait of Hormuz. So the estimates coming out are this has cost $11 billion in 6 days. We will see what happens. A couple of weeks, and a couple is 2, as the shadow government continuously says, several is more. So a couple of weeks, 2 weeks of elevated oil prices is not likely to screw up the macroeconomic environment. It'll just create a small headwind. You start getting into several weeks, 3, 4, 5 weeks, that could have real consequences. Could definitely have real consequences, because you start talking about that oil is working its way through. At the pump, I'm already seeing it's gone from 298 about 2 weeks ago to about 348. And that may continue rising. This is a very big issue coming up, maybe not for Q1 earnings. Keep in mind, this happened beginning of March. March is the 3rd month in Q1. So you already had 2 months of business finished, and oil prices weren't really impacting input prices and gasoline prices in the beginning of March. So this may or may not have an impact on Q1. What it could do is have a huge impact on the forecast for Q2 and guidance for the full year. If companies guided at the end of 2025, they could guide lower. And if they do, that'll absolutely shatter the growth narrative. We don't want oil high because input prices and transportation prices impact earnings. They will contract the multiple. It's a very bad situation. Oil, my opinion, 55 to 65 is that sweet spot we're looking for. I know Q1's almost over. Where'd the time go? I couldn't tell you. I think it's insane. I was saying the other day, it's almost April. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Listen, Amit is more handsome than me. Don't start doing that. I wish I could tune into CNBC. For some reason, when I log into my streaming app, I'm not able to share the screen. Let me see if I can do it a different way. Hold on. It just shows a black screen when I try sharing it. I am going to try it a different way. Give me a moment. We have all day, Steve. Good chance to learn. I'm not texting him and asking him. It's something with my provider, probably. If I had to guess. Yes, I will agree with that. My coffee is definitely better than Amit's coffee. There is no question about that at all. No question about it. I'm not drinking that instant coffee madness that he's drinking. Natural gas, $3.21. Brent is up to 98.19 right now. WTI, which we care a little bit more about in the States, 92.94. Craziness. Absolutely crazy. The NVIDIA event's going to be very interesting next week. I agree with that. Oh, hold on. We just got very important news from a very important person. Amit says hello, and he said I can show everybody this on stream. What is this? Oh boy. Amit, if you are listening, you just became such a freaking legend. So I'm sending this to my email so I can bring it up properly. Hold on. We're not going to show it on my phone. This deserves email. This deserves me showing it on screen. Oh my God. You guys aren't ready for what this guy just pulled off. Holy shit. Holy shit. Freaking Amit. Talk about somebody that's got some pull. Talk about somebody that got some freaking pull. All right, so everybody knows he's at AIPCon, okay? What you don't know is what he had them build for a set. Is everybody ready? This is incredible. Is everybody ready? Amit got them to build a stage out of bricks. This is not CGI. This is not AI. This is legitimate Amit got them to build a freaking stage out of bricks. This is so freaking legendary. I mean, you can't make this up. This is not bullshit. This is legit. Palantir, AIPCon 9, Amit will be hosting it, and there are bricks. There are freaking bricks. This is not CGI. Oh my God, this is great. This is absolutely great. Yeah, it's hard because it's raining. It's probably raining down there where they are. Oh, that's funny. I love it. I love it. This is so legit. So legit.
End of the previous site.
Give me 1 sec. I'm trying to do CNBC a different way right now. I could have swore that I used to get CNBC with Thinkorswim, but I'm only getting the Schwab network. I guess they got rid of it. Did they get rid of it? I guess they got rid of it. I can't do it that way. Okay, so that's not going to work. All right, we're going to try to get everybody's CNBC a different way. Hold on. Give me a sec. We're going to try this one more time. Thoughts on SoFi? I mean, obviously I'm in it. Obviously, I think it's going to do well. I truthfully believe it's being looked at as a bank, and we're going to stop what I'm saying because Hollis has jokes. ICE heard Steve applied for a passport. They heard right. They heard right. And I did get email that it's under review. I did get a real ID. We're all good. I can get on a plane. I can get on a plane. Sirens would be sweet. Interesting. All right. All right. So I do have streaming. I can watch TV directly on my computer, but for some reason, it won't let me bring it up. I don't know why. I am trying to figure this out. So give me 1 sec. Because I do want to see if Karp's on or not. It's blacking it out for some reason. So the best I can do is play the audio. So I guess we're going to do that. So hold on.
Makes you lethal on the battlefield and what makes you commercially viable. Like in the current phase we're in, an AI enhanced phase, you have physical assets that are not being used optimally, meaning the integration is not optimal because your data systems can't work. And then they have to be enhanced in a way that makes them truly unique, an N of one. So that what makes America special right now is our lethal capacities, our ability to fight war, both because we've been doing it for 20 years, because we have meritocracy in our military, and because we finance it in a way no other country has, and because the AI revolution is uniquely American, something it's like every company, all the model providers that are relevant, and the ontology that makes them valuable, and the chips that they run on are built in this country. And that's happening. It's like, well, yeah, it's obviously happening. And then the question is, what does it mean for society? And those are really big questions because, you know, like, what does it mean for our job force? What does it mean for our fighting force? And a lot of, I mean, right now I'm 100 as focused as you can be on making sure we're delivering the magical technology to our warfighters. But then, you know, many people are watching this and figuring out, well, where should I invest? It basically comes down to, is this company going to be able to create value in a way no other company can? Can the military create value in a way? Or you're going to have a huge problem, unlike any problem you had in the past, because this is not we all do well kind of world. This is a winner takes all world on the battlefield, commercial, and that's why the U.S. is positioned so strongly on these.
Then talk to us about Anthropic, the use of this technology, Claude. Given that the Department of Defense has blacklisted Anthropic, is Palantir still using Claude?
We were in the middle of all these discussions, and so both for respect to the Department of War and Dario, I obviously can't go into specifics, and I, okay, but I can tell you first of all, what's in the papers. The Department of War is planning to phase out Anthropic. Currently, it's not phased out. Our products are integrated with Anthropic, and in the future, will probably be integrated with other large language models because of this dispute. The core question, though, is, and where I can give you my opinion, is in this country, on the battlefield, not domestic surveillance. No one believes it, but Palantir is the most important protector of the Fourth Amendment, or Fourth Amendment, meaning the right of privacy in this country because of the way our product works. And I'm deeply committed to that, and as are most Americans. The Fourth Amendment, in my view, or extrapolation, does not apply to adversaries on the battlefield. On the battlefield, where we are confronting people who want to kill us, and where men and women who are the most noble people in this country, and by the way, the only institution in this country that's widely respected by every demographic in this country respects the U.S. military. They deserve the best and most lethal technology in the world, and we at Palantir are going to make for effing sure that they get it, whether we get it from Anthropic, whether we get it from OpenAI, or we get it from Elon and X, or we get it from NVIDIA or Google. The thing for us is we are committed to the warfighter getting the best technology. And by the way, I'm bifurcating that from domestic issues. I see lots of reasons to restrict these technologies in law enforcement and in other use cases because they are so powerful, they could proxy eviscerate, even if they're within the context of the law, the rights that were given to us by a higher being in the First, Second, Fourth, and Fifth Amendments.
Okay, so if it's not Claude, there's another option available. Jim Cramer has a question back in studio.
Alex, first, thank you for coming on Spoke on the Street. It's always great to see you.
Yeah, I'm supposed to look at the camera, but you know, I'm not a professional, so I'm looking at the camera and don't see you. But
well,
yes,
we see you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you. In the technological republic, hard power, soft belief in the future of the West, you distinguish between companies that are doing things that are exactly what you're talking about. In other words, trying to help the warfighters, and then companies that frankly are doing different missions. You divided Google, Amazon, Facebook, shifted their focus from collaboration with the state to the consumer market. Do you think that in this particular war incident that we're having right now, there's been a uniting and that these companies are helping the president to try to win this war?
Look, there's been thank you for the question. There's been a huge shift in Silicon Valley. When we started Palantir, we couldn't get funding. Because we were pro making sure the warfighter came home alive. And quite frankly, that in some cases means that our enemies and adversaries do not come home alive. And the Valley structurally has moved from being hostile to skeptical to neutral positive on the idea that Silicon Valley, like every other part of industry, has to support the warfighter. The one thing, though, that I think even now is underestimated by all actors in industry, and including in Silicon Valley, is how disruptive these technologies are. If you are going to disrupt the economic and therefore political power significantly of one party space, highly educated, often female voters who vote mostly Democrat, and military and working class people who do not feel supported, and you feel like you believe that that's going to work out politically, you're in an insane asylum. Like, that you cannot have it. This technology disrupts humanity's trained, largely Democratic voters, and makes their economic power less, and increases the economic power of vocationally trained, working class, often male voters, and so these disruptions are going to disrupt every aspect of our society. And to make this work, we have to come to an agreement of what it is we're going to do with the technology. How are we going to explain to people who are likely going to have less good and less interesting jobs from their perspective? And how is it that we are going, and by the way, on the military thing, these technologies are dangerous societally. The only justification you could possibly have would be that if we don't do it, our adversaries will do it, and we will be subject to their rule of law. If you decouple this from the support of the military, you're going to have an enormous problem explaining to the American people, why is it that we're absorbing the risk of disrupting the very fabric of our society, including the most powerful parts of our society, if it's not because it's about maintaining our ability to be American in the near term and long term. And the interesting thing is, people even in industry are not aware of how disruptive these technologies are. And therefore, it's true that people are certainly supportive of supporting the US government in a way they weren't. But this is a road that we've never traveled before. And if you don't believe it, look at the battlefield. What do you think the Chinese and Russians are saying about what they're seeing on the battlefield now? They're not saying, oh, this is some kind of incremental technology. They're saying, wait a minute, the last time we saw America fight, it was like Afghanistan, and nothing worked. Now it's like stuff we can't do.
Okay, well, I mean, Alex, are you fearful after that? And I agree with everything you say, that Taiwan's in danger. I understand from speaking with some cybersecurity people I know you like, that this is right now, China thinks that we are distracted, and that this may be an ideal time to make some.
No, sorry, that's not what I'm saying. Sorry. And I don't think that's the lesson. I think that, first of all, China is run by engineers. So that's an advantage and a disadvantage. But what our adversaries are seeing is they can do for the first time in decades, they're seeing things on the battlefield that they don't believe they can replicate. And that is it's the same thing that's going on in commercial in the US. It's like, or the same thing, like your investors are probably blowing up your phone saying, how do I know which company is valuable and which company isn't? And it's basically all the answers are the same. It's like, these things are nearly impossible to pull off. Transforming large institutions. If you can do it, you are undervalued. If you can't do it, you're going to disappear.
Is that your message to business leaders who will be here in about an hour before you get to take stage?
Well, I mean, they're here, and that's actually the main thing we're doing in these conferences is saying, you guys talk to each other. Don't believe anything we're saying. Go compare your notes. But what I am telling everybody, not just inside America, I'm pleading with my European friends. I spent half my life in Europe, who largely don't listen. This is a have-not revolution. And like, there's all these discussions around software. Like, it's like, all these investors who thought we were a services company, couldn't invest, now think we're a software company, can't invest. It's like total BS. We get paid on value creation. Everybody in this world is going to get paid on value creation. And the way you get paid in value creation is you enhance large-scale infrastructure in a way no one else can. On the battlefield, deadly infrastructure. In the civilian context, less deadly infrastructure. There is not going to be, we're all trained, it's like we're all trained to think of the world as if the world is lawyers. Like, they're bad lawyers, they're good lawyers, so you pay a little more, but there's a linear progression. This is not a linear progression thing. This is, you have it or you don't.
I wanted to ask you about a report that the Iranian state media has leaked that Iran is looking at technology companies, including Palantir, and their Middle East infrastructure as potential targets. Your reaction?
They're evil, they're not stupid.
I mean, Amazon 3 data centers have already been bombed.
They're evil, they're not stupid. It's like, if you look at, it's like, even there you see a revolution. And again, we mind our own business at Palantir. Look who's on the list, look who's not. I mean, we're in the middle of war. You would expect it to be a list of hardcore military companies. They are interested in the things they can't produce. And look at the list. And again, one of the bigger lessons that I think we struggle with in America is evil does not mean stupid. They are very smart human beings, the mullahs. Now, they're more than willing to assassinate 50,000 of their own people on just because, that's how they roll. It's like, and then we have wide swaths of the American populace on far left, far right that are seemingly don't care about that. But, they're very smart humans. They make a list of the technologies that are crucial to making America superior on the battlefield and in U.S. commercial, which is very much linked, like supply chains are linked. But also, if America is the economy of the future, it's much harder to fight. And that's who they go after. Evil and stupid are not the same.
Well, it's a complicated landscape. We appreciate you taking the time, Alex, to talk to us about the opportunity and Palantir's role in this war, but at the same time, the opportunity in commercial with that business exploding.
Last, but definitely not least, in fact, most important, and that everybody watching this should find a way to support our war fighters. Most of us in corporate life, we are proxy benefiting from the people who defend us. And by the way, to my friends in the tech community, no one would put up with our BS outside of America if we didn't have the strongest military in the world. We are proxy free riding on them, and we should show support. Even if you don't agree with this war, you can support the men and women who are risking their lives to protect us and our way of life and your business. And at Palantir, that's what we're doing.
We appreciate the time. CEO of Palantir, Alex Karp, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Carl, Jim, I will send it back to you in studio.
All right. We will find that video and actually play it once it's on YouTube. For some reason, my cable provider will not allow me to show the screen for some reason. I will look into it about why. We are a minute and a half away from the actual open. The S&P futures, S&P down 52. NASDAQ down 208. The Dow is down 456. We may or may not have a bill. You're going to have to wait another minute and find out. So let's roll through some of these again real quick. We got Amazon down 1%, Broadcom down 1.28%, ET up just a little, Ethereum up 1.5%, Robinhood down almost 1.5%, 929, everyone. We're gonna call this the bootleg market open because we cannot be nearly as good as Amit, so we will use a much different thing that shows all three instead of using went too big, huh? All right. It's almost open. We're almost open. Everything is trending lower. Portfolios are bleeding. Amit is at AIPCon. For all those that just came in, we will show the picture of where Amit is in a moment. I don't want to disappoint anybody. It's 9:30. Guess what? It's 9:30. We do have a bell. It's the only bell I could find. It's not as cool as Amit's cowbell. It's open. The market is open. Let's refresh this. 459, 204, all down. Let's go individuals. Yes, the little Tinkerbell. Yes. I will need to get a cowbell like Amit at some point. All right, so Broadcom dropping quick, 1.28%. Where's Amazon at? Amazon, 1.5%. Meta is down 0.75%. Microsoft is actually green right now, just turned green. BM&R is turning green, everyone. Netflix turning green, trying to make a run on 100. Netflix down a little bit. I'm sorry, NVIDIA down a little bit, not Netflix. NVIDIA down just a little bit, 1.2%. Oracle not giving up gains, up 1.5%. This is whipsawing. It almost went back down. Now it's up 0.7%. Palantir, after Karp's speech, up 1%. Palantir's holding well. SoFi, negative 1.3%. Tesla, another community favorite, down 1%, not doing bad at all. Taiwan Semi, down 2.5%. Venture Global, up 1.5%. And then we got Zeta. Zeta's still holding above 18. It's down 1.5%, 1.10%. Now less than 1%. Yep, Zeta's back over 18. I still need my coffee, guys. Come on. So the clip with Karp is not up yet, but I do want to watch this from the second guest of basis points. Mr. Dan Ives was just on CNBC talking about Musk and a Tesla XAI project. Let's see what he's got to say.
Anybody want to emulate software companies right now? I thought software companies are on their way out.
I know. Look, I think this continues to be, I think a very white knuckle period for software companies, because I think it's really an AI ghost trade. It's the view that these LLMs or anything that comes out is going to be the demise of software. I continue to view it as the most disconnected trade that I've seen in my career. I think it's just way oversold. And I think this is going to continue to be a generational buying opportunity for the winners.
This is a big thesis of you, this AI ghost trade. What metrics would appear that would cause you to change your mind?
Look, monetization, the use cases is going to be software. And I think Palantir has been a great example of it. I think Oracle, obviously, that was a huge prove me moment that we saw, from them. I think you'll see it from Salesforce, ServiceNow, cybersecurity. Look, if there was a moment that you started to actually see enterprises go with true LLMs, that would be what I think that continues to be a fictional narrative. And we've talked about it. I think the Anthropic issue, it's a ghost trade. And I think that's why there's a bottoming of the software sector.
A lot of the companies that we see under pressure because of skepticism over AI, whether it's, I'm watching it with gaming companies,
Sure.
that everybody can be a sharp now because AI makes it possible to put forward the best predictions on parlays. You're seeing it in travel with online travel agencies. But what I hear from the companies is that they're harnessing and they're using AI to make what they offer to their customers better.
I think you nailed it. It comes down to the LLMs that that's not going to be necessarily the value. The value is in the data, in the stacks. And that's why I think when it comes to software, the reason it's a ghost trade is that the monetization of software is just starting to happen now. I think Oracle, that was a huge proving moment for the sector. But I think what you see is that there's a lot of the bears that are coming out of hibernation mode, looking at software as ultimately, this is now the demise of it. I strongly disagree. I think Microsoft is probably one of the most disconnected stocks that I've seen relative to the sell-off.
What we're seeing, though, is that if you are an options trader, they are almost all going all in on the downside, especially in tech, especially for mega cap tech. How is that affecting your thesis when you're seeing options coming down to a mega crisis?
I think it just creates obviously volatility, but the opportunity for the bulls. Because in my view, tech will make all-time highs later this year. Now, are we going through a white knuckle moment? No doubt, but we've gone through it a year ago. If you go to DeepSeek, Liberation Day, and others, but if you look at the spending in the CapEx dollars, I think that ultimately is the yellow brick road because of the multiplier on CapEx that will be for software, infrastructure, second, third derivatives across tech.
What about higher gas prices, the way that affects consumer sentiment and the way demand for consumer tech starts to have an impact?
Sure. I think it's the view, okay, does this conflict with Iran, does it last a few weeks, few months, longer? You know, in our view, like if it's contained, there's not that much of a negative impact. You know,
What
relative
makes you
to
think
earnings.
what makes you think it would be contained?
Look, I think that's the question. Is that I think right now the street, and from a tech perspective, we're focused on: is this going to change the view of CapEx dollars? Is it going to view the AI in terms of the use cases that are exploding? Right now, we're not seeing that. To some extent, I think what you're actually seeing is an acceleration in the AI trend. Look, that's why. Look, because that's, to me, that's the huge debate right now, is that the bears are basically saying, like, okay, like this is going to disrupt the AI trade, is going to disrupt tech. We disagree, and that's why this is a pound the table moment on the tech winners.
Dan Ives, you looking very conservative for Thursday morning.
Again, you never know, but I think maybe could be a little more aggressive as tech continues to go higher.
Well, I got to tell you, I agree with Senor Ives. I really do. Everybody knows my stance on this. Him and I see eye to eye on most things. A lot of people say I'm a Uber bull, perma bull, whatever it is. I think software got too cheap. I never bought into the idea of you're going to vibe code enterprise level software out of existence. And before I go on with that thought, let's show this. The commodity markets are ripping higher. We got Brent teetering on 199, just over 99. WTI crude 94, just went under, now it went back. Gasoline is approaching 3. Natural gas is 321. 7% upswing today. Oil prices are both between 45 and 50% up on crude and WTI. Sorry, WTI and Brent. Just in a month. And I think what I've said is true. Is this going to impact the spend on CapEx? And when we think about, is this priced into the market? Well, we're a week and a half in now. If it's not priced in now, when's it going to be priced in? I think it's priced in, and the big fear is that this could cause a re-rating to the downside if companies revise guidance to the downside. I'm not sure that we're going to get a huge downswing from here unless that happens during Q1 earnings. But I do think there's a lot of interesting companies. I do think there's a lot of companies that are cheap right now. And software has been severely impacted. I think there's a lot of them that are still cheap. I really do. There's going to be new startups. There is no question about that. There are going to be new startups. It's never been easier to start a company. I mean, you could theoretically go start an LLC for anywhere from like $500 to $1,200, depending on what state you're in, et cetera, et cetera. And a couple of people in college could just start vibe coding and bring a company to market. That's the beautiful thing about the free market, and that's the beautiful thing about technology. The barriers to entry are extremely cheap. It just becomes how good are your products. Now, when I say extremely cheap, cheap to get off the ground. Obviously, at some point, you're going to have to pay for hosting costs, server costs, et cetera, et cetera. But to conceptually get the idea out, inexpensive. It's not a situation where you're trying to go compete in the oil space. So, oh, look at this guy. Maddie, if you are not at the office, check WhatsApp. Mr. Cashflow Chronicles himself. Nebius is looking interesting. I agree with you. That's why I bought it. I bought it over CoreWeave. I don't know. I see a blue check mark. Oh, look at this. We are in for a treat. Mr. Matt Money, say hello on the bootleg market open.
I got to turn you down here, Steve. Hold on, let me switch to a speakerphone. How do I do this? I forget. Audio. I got to switch this. I don't know. It's probably going to echo, and I can't hear you right now.
Are you running the oil industry from your home, or are you in your car, or are you at the office? Where are you, Matt? The hell is that? Hold on. Matt? You called me on WhatsApp. You can't do StreamYard?
That goes for everybody, so it doesn't sound good.
All right, I just put you on speakerphone.
Okay. Yeah, sorry everybody. Just it echoes, and I want you guys to have a good experience. I don't want you guys to be hearing echoes. How are we doing this morning, Steven?
Well,
congratulations on stealing Amit's job for the morning, and potentially tomorrow as well.
Doing a lot better now that I hear your voice.
Steve, if you want, I'll sing for you.
I mean, let's not get crazy. It's only 9:43 in the morning, East Coast time.
I mean, yeah, I'm running late, but excited because this gives me an opportunity to give you a little chit chat, see how things are going. Excited that oil's back up a little bit. It's a plus and minus because obviously that means that input costs for a lot of people goes up at the pump, traveling, etc. But it means I have a job, so it's always fun. It gets me excited to see what potential opportunities there are out there. So yeah, it's always an interesting day, but hopefully at the end of the day, these skirmishes and everything that's going on in the Middle East come to a conclusion because I don't like seeing people get hurt. So
agreed. So you have a good beat on the oil markets. Where do you think we go from here? 6 tankers were attacked overnight or early in the morning or whatever the time zone is over there. What do you think? Do you think this is Brent is teetering on 100? We're at 99.49 right now. Where do you think we go from here?
We're not in a world where we're short of oil, but at the same time, supply chain is being impacted. Yeah, so I feel like it's going to be pretty comparable to what happened during the Ukraine-Russia war, right? The supply chains are getting disrupted. So in that respect, people have obligations, whether it's refinery obligations, delivering gasoline contracts, etc. And so you're seeing, I anticipate a lot of people buying up because of that. That also being said, I don't expect $200 a barrel unless this skirmish really persists for an extended period of time and things get much worse than they are right now. We're talking about full on, I hate to say the word, but World War III. I personally just think that the world right now has a lot of oil. It's not like we are supply constrained. We might have supply chain issues, if that makes sense. So to me, I just don't foresee $150 a barrel or more unless we have some major increases in total catastrophes, which I hope I don't see.
Well, the Dow is now
Does that make
down.
sense, Steve? I'm hoping I'm not confusing people.
No, I don't think so. The Dow is now down 571 points. The S&P is down 65. The NASDAQ is down 222. And on an individual stock level, surprisingly, Salesforce is pumping. The market may like the news about their borrowing $25 billion to do buybacks. They are up 3%. Amazon down 0.71%. Broadcom down 1.7%. Tommy Dime's favorite company, Cisco, down 0.74%. CoreWeave down to $80.62, down 1.63%. You got Meta down 1.2%, Microsoft down 0.10%, Nebius fallen 3.5%. You got Nvidia pushing back towards 180, they're down 1.3%. SoFi down 1.86%, Tesla down 1%, and Zeta holding strong, flat.
Where's Service Meow, Steven?
Service Meow is basically flat. It's at 115.30 right now.
Are you what's the move? Are you going to start continuing to buy into these SaaS names here? Does the Salesforce being a little bit more upbeat give you a little bit more confidence? I know you're already a holder.
I should have bought it at the open. Reddit's trying to make a move. It's up 1.17%. I think Reddit's going to play for right now. I'm not looking to buy more Salesforce at the moment. I want to see if this is a head fake or not. I think it's very undervalued. I think ServiceNow is undervalued. But the more that I look at Reddit, I think Reddit can move. I need to look into a few more things and do a real big deep dive. I'm getting very interested in Reddit at these levels, more so than ServiceNow or Salesforce.
Well, we took a look at it, right? And last night, for anybody that was able to watch me a little bit, and it's trading at, what is it, high 30s, low 40s price to earnings ratio. But that being said, the thing that's, I think, most important that people need to recognize is that price to earnings ratio is going to be depressed due to the fact that they kind of have just gotten their business off the ground and they just really started to monetize the product. Year-over-year revenues are growing pretty quickly. So I think you might be honest on that, Steve. I think where people might be fearful is that it's a rather new IPO and new company to the market. It's not have like a 10-year tenure, if that makes sense. It's definitely something that's a little bit newer, and it's obviously had some volatility. I don't think that Reddit's going away. I think a lot of people love Reddit. It's kind of like X, right? It might not be the most dominant player in the space, but there's a huge community that utilizes it. And I think it's also still growing, and I think they're coming into their own, being able to increase revenues. And if they're able to persist at even a 40-50% growth rate, at the valuation they're trading at now, it'll definitely grow into that valuation very quickly.
Well, I don't want you to think I'm trolling you or anything, but there are people in the chat. They want to know your opinion on a little company called Rocket Money.
Oh, Rocket Money?
Yeah.
Well, for anybody that hasn't heard me, because I know I haven't been on like a mid-show or anything, or had like a 2,000 person audience, which congratulations, Steve, you have a 2,000 person audience right now. And I'm sure you'll get close to 10K after it's all said and done, people watching after the fact. But I was a little disappointed, as everyone probably is, off the delay of Neutron. But I think that was to be expected. The thing that makes me most excited about listening to the recent earnings call is the continued expansion into space services and space systems. The other piece that gives me a lot of reason to celebrate is the only thing that has failed thus far for Rocket Lab in this entire Neutron aspect. Yes, it may have taken longer than expected, but the only thing that has technically failed any of its tests was a third-party system. And the only reason that third-party system was actually potentially being used is I noticed that people are giving Rocket Lab some skepticism about trying to use a third-party tank instead of creating their own tank, was because they wanted to shave a couple months off of the delivery cycle. And I can understand that. It's not like you're doing something that is never been done before. You're creating a fuel tank. So to me, it should have been something that should have passed. But the thing that gives me a lot to celebrate is one, that was a third party. Two, they were already in construction on serial number 2 or 3 of that particular piece. So even though that piece had failed, they were already in construction on their own piece, which eliminates the failure mechanism that was on the third party system as a whole. So everything else, the thing that gives me a lot of joy going forward is, yes, that first launch may be delayed, but the subsequent launches are likely to be on track, if not barely delayed, because this company didn't design just one single piece, Steve. They designed the supply chain while they were building each of these pieces. So it's not like they had to be like, okay, now let's start serial number 2. Serial number 2 is already happening for a lot of these devices and modular pieces that are going to be put together. So my anticipation is within 6 months after first launch, you'll have a second launch, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that one might be able to land on a barge. And if that lands on a barge, you're off to the races, because then you're really giving the Falcon 9 competition a run for its money. But that being said, the company's got plenty of cash. It's over $1 billion in cash right now. There's a lot of contracts still to be given to Rocket Lab, in my opinion, and awards a lot to be given to Rocket Lab, just based off of the things that I know that they're bidding for, which is public information. It's no private information or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, I think that it really depends on the person that's getting involved in the stock right now. If you're looking at it like, hey, maybe it jumps back up to $80-90, maybe. I'm not that smart. You guys probably are smarter than me. So, I mean, could you make it a little $20 a share if it jumps back up to $90? But for me, I'm looking at it still from a 10-year horizon. When I first bought it in 2020, 2021, I was looking for 2030, and now we're 5 years along. I've learned so much more about the company. The company is transformed from a launch company that I was kind of buying into to now this literally end-to-end space company. And I couldn't be more happier with the transition that the company has made in that realm. And to me, I think that there's a lot of opportunity still that's growing. Space systems, growing into data centers, the solar capability that are be able to provide supply to those data centers. So I think anybody that's looking 10 years out, I think that the current share price, which would probably put it at a $40 billion market cap, to me is rather cheap. You're looking at somebody that is potentially number one in a lot of individual space components, and then is also number one in small launch, and will eventually be number 2 in medium launch. And to me, as we've seen with SpaceX, that builds a moat. Having that capability builds a moat, and I don't think that Rocket Lab has hit its full stride yet.
Well, we got news. Big Palantir news for everybody in the chat and for everybody that's listening on X and for Matt. 1, Palantir and GE Aerospace expanded their multi-year partnership using Palantir's AIP across military aviation maintenance, supply chain, and production. In addition, Palantir and NVIDIA unveil sovereign AI operating system architecture. 2 huge pieces of news. And a third, Iliano posted that there's a new t-shirt dropping right now for AIPCon. There are no secrets. AIPCon 9.
Steve, you heard it here first.
Heard it here first.
Are you adding? You haven't added any Palantir in quite some time, have you?
No, I'm shook.
Yeah, you're a little shook. I get it.
I'm a little shook.
I get it, man. Not everyone can be me.
A little shook.
Not everyone can.
A little shook.
The way I look at it, man, is $350 billion market cap. It's an expensive company, but they're making some good strides right now. And I think what's going on in the current environment is demonstrating that what they've been building is exactly being verified and validated as to something that is completely necessary and shows how much you need really good data structures and really good ability to talk to organized data. Otherwise, if you don't have organized data, there's no way you're going to be able to have your enterprise be able to interact with these LLMs. And I think right now what you're seeing,
Matt, your service sucks.
Yeah, I just got into the parking garage.
Call me when you're upstairs.
Okay.
All right, bye. We also have other news out of Palantir. LG CNS partners with Palantir to advance AI transformation business. This is very interesting. Palantir announcing some big deals this morning or overnight. Another one, Centrus, ticker symbol LEU, is partnering with Palantir to use AI software in the expansion of its uranium enrichment plant in Piketon, Ohio. They have already identified nearly $300 million in potential cost savings since the partnership began in late January. Look, Palantir's all over the place. They are a freaking monster. There is no question about that. And we got to show it on Amit's feed. Nobody can replace Amit. It is true. I was not screwing with everybody. It is true. We'll be doing some interviews at Palantir's AIPCon today. The bricks, we're going to like, we're going to repost, and we are going to put the fact that this is made out of bricks indicates, what should we say? Indicates, now, the fact that this is made out of bricks is incredible. We'll leave it at that. He'll know what I'm saying. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. I am going to ask him who he had to ask to get that done. Or did Iliano just say, do it out of bricks? Or did Sham say it? I mean, that's incredible. I'm really excited for Amit, everyone. I am super excited. Obviously, you would rather be listening to him than me, but he is off doing big things. And I'm just trying to keep people entertained. I mean, it's definitely real. Whether they're real bricks or not, they look like real bricks. I have no idea if it's wood with brick wrapping. I don't know. It could be wrapping, but it looks freaking great. The fact that it's bricked up is great. Listen, we're trying to keep the show going, trying to keep the momentum going. I will be doing the market close also today. We will sub in for Amit. We will do the market close. Don't you worry. PB. The hell just happened? There we go. Thank you, PB. Amit is no longer Slumdog Millionaire. There is no way Amit's going to post that on X if it's not true. There's just no way. No way. Listen, I'm excited for AIPCon. It's always a good time. All right, let's go back to the markets for a moment. Let's see where we're at. We have crude 94.47. The S&P is down 1%. The NASDAQ is down 1.3%. The Dow is down 1.15%. Bitcoin holding 70,000 is down 161.50, 70,034.59. Gold holding 5,100. Not buying airline stocks. You're welcome. I'm happy to fill in. Look, the markets are red today. Rusty, thank you very much. Chels is the best. Just wish she wasn't texting while driving. Please confirm you are wearing pants. I have shorts on, if you must know. Long term, I agree. I think the markets are on sale. I am a very big believer that the markets will ultimately be significantly higher going forward. Oh, all right. We got to listen to this. So the Chris Wright, Energy Secretary, who was on CNBC, they're going to talk about the U.S. not escorting tankers through the strait yet. Let's see what he has to say. I don't know if we're going to watch the whole thing or not. Let's see.
$172 million barrels of oil from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in an effort to lower energy costs during the Iran war. Joining us now is Energy Secretary Chris Wright. Mr. Secretary, it's good to see you. Thanks for hanging out, talking about the play. You probably were listening to some of that, but we appreciate you joining us this morning.
You bet. Thanks for having me, Joe.
I'm doing some math here and thinking about the SPR. We're only at 58% right now, and I look at all the machinations of we tried to refill it, didn't we? And Congress wouldn't give us the money to refill all of it. So now if we use 172 million out of 415, we'll be below 50% full, won't we?
We will, but as we release this oil to address the short-term needs, we're doing it in swaps. So we're going to release 172 million barrels and swap it for more than 200 million barrels that'll be back in the reserve within a year. So ultimately, this is going to help us fill the reserve, but we need the oil in the short term for a short-term pain for long-term gain.
How does that work? Because I saw that, so that we'll get 200 back with no cost to the taxpayer. How does that work?
Just think of the price structure of oil right now. You know, it's backwardated. So the front month price is much higher than the 12 months out price.
Right. Okay. All right. So that the math actually works out. How long does it take for this to help with the total 400 million? Because it's at least 120 days for it all to get there. Hence, we won't see any immediate effect on lowering prices, or we wouldn't expect that, would we?
Well, it's certainly an offset. And again, it's not just the United States that's releasing. You know, it's 30 nations around the world. There's no shortage or even really tight oil market in the Western Hemisphere. The issue's in Asia. That's where the oil from the Persian Gulf flows. Japan is releasing 3 times more than their pro rata share. Just addressing where is the struggle is in refineries in Asia. We're just getting oil into those refineries as quick as possible. We're going through a short-term disruption, but it's overdue to address this Iranian threat that's festered and grown for 47 years.
Iran is able to get its own ships through. So at least at this point, it's not optimal the way things are happening. We're having some trouble. We keep hearing, and I think you've said that Iran's ability to threaten shipping is already declining. Can you update us on where we are and how long we're talking about? Before we see any progress at all in opening things up.
Well, with President Trump's leadership here, the military is going at full speed. You know, this is an operation that'll take weeks, not months. Every day, enormous progress is made. We're destroying their ability to threaten the United States troops in the region, to threaten their neighbors, and ultimately to threaten energy markets. They were going the opposite direction, right? Massively expanding their missile program, pushing ahead with a nuclear program. If this can had been kicked down the road one more administration, we would end with an Iran that would be ensconced forever with nuclear weapons in that region. Simply unacceptable. So President Trump has been working to, through negotiations, through every effort possible to deliver the right result here. But ultimately, the only option on the table, and I believe firmly it is the right option, is to destroy their military ability to threaten their neighbors and the Straits. But it's a weeks-long operation. It's not days. It's not months.
I think people would love to see the Navy being able to escort a tanker.
Hold on. Did he just say what I think he said?
It's not days. It's not months.
I think
weeks-long operation. It's not days. It's not months.
So if it's not days, it's not months, what is it? Can anybody make sense of that? If it's not days, it's not months. What else is there? I don't get it. It better not be freaking years.
I think people would love to see the Navy being able to escort a tanker through the Strait. And earlier this week, from an ex-post, it looked like that was happening. It wasn't happening. I guess the White House later said that it was incorrect. Why isn't it happening? Can it happen now? Will it happen soon that the Navy can do that?
It'll happen relatively soon, but it can't happen now. We're simply not ready. All of our military assets right now are focused on destroying Iran's offensive capabilities and the manufacturing industry that supplies their offensive capabilities. We don't want this to be a brush off for a year or two. We want to permanently destroy their ability to build missiles, to build drones, to have a nuclear program. It is amazing. They have invested all of the wealth of their country, deprived the rights of all of their people simply to build a war machine. And we are systematically, day by day, destroying that war machine.
Secretary Wright, when you say weeks, not months, for the incursion, the war, whatever you might want to call this, the question that the markets are focused on, does that mean days or weeks before you might be able to start escorting some of those tankers through the Strait? When we talked to an oil expert earlier this morning, she suggested that if this carries on for the next couple of weeks through the end of the month, that you could be looking at oil prices above $150. And it's not just oil that there are concerns about. There is helium, tanks of helium trying to get through, because that's critical to making sure we can continue to manufacture semiconductors. There's nothing that can be substituted for the cooling properties of helium with that. Do you think by the end of this month, the U.S. Navy will be escorting some of those ships through the Strait?
I think that, yes, I think that is quite likely the case. But again, I'll be over at the Pentagon later today, but that is what the military is working on. And yes, a lot of critical materials come out of the Straits of Hormuz. look, we have a large global economy. Fortunately, with President Trump's policies, the United States is a net exporter of oil. We're a net exporter of natural gas. And in fact, we're growing our net exports of natural gas this spring, this summer. You'll see massively more capacity online by the end of this year. Natural gas is another product. So we've done the right things in the U.S. to make the Western Hemisphere a much better place and to supply the world. But it is short-term pain for the long-term gain. But it's simply a must-achieve thing. Otherwise, you've got decades into the future of an Iran that can hold.
All right. Here's the problem. Problem is, and look, I appreciate everything that Secretary Wright said. Hopefully this gets resolved sooner than later. We obviously don't want civilians being hurt. We want the people of Iran to be safe. And war is just not good. It's extremely ugly. From an economics standpoint, the other thing that we have to think about is we're getting into prime growing season for crops. Oil being higher for longer impacts fertilizer prices. Fertilizer prices cause the input cost for crops to go up, and then it could cause food prices to go up. I don't know that this is short-term pain. We need oil under 75. They need to figure this out sooner than later. No, I will not be doing the market open regularly. This is not a competition. Amit is at AIPCon. I am just filling in because everybody asked me to last night. So I said, of course, for the community, we'll do what we can. We will do what we can. And I will be trying to do the market close today also at 3:45-ish. And this was makeshift. I didn't have anything ready. So in the future, I will have a bunch of stuff ready, et cetera, et cetera. Appreciate it, everybody. I really appreciate it. Thank you. It's all for the community. It is all for the community to keep you guys entertained. You know what? Michelle is showing off. No, you did. Michelle. All right, hold on. I'm downloading this and I'm going to show it, Michelle, because we can't have your phone number showing up. This is crazy. So this is what I got to contend with. I haven't had breakfast yet. I'm starving. Coffee's kicking in. And this is what I get from Michelle. Let me make sure this is not going to show your phone number. This is what I get in WhatsApp from Michelle. Looks delicious. So it looks like we got dark chocolate chips inside and milk chocolate on the top. Michelle, am I correct? Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Michelle, I don't know how to save numbers in WhatsApp. Come on, that's too advanced for me. You know that. Too advanced. Way too advanced for this guy. Great breakfast of champions. I agree. I don't know if that's too much chocolate. Baby Yoda back there. Grogu. PB, I saw that Iran's new supreme leader says the strait should be stay closed. We'll see what happens. We will see. Let's see if see where the commodity markets are. Yeah, we're still hanging out right around 100. $99.50 on Brent, 94.8 on WTI. Not good. Michelle, that's going to be completely covered in buttercream? Jeez. You're getting after it. I'm not talking about private credit right now. I mean, Dougie, I didn't know that was an option either. That's right. We're talking about private cookies right now. Private cookies over private credit. Dougie, put it in the chat. You think oil is going to hang out over around 100 for a while, or do you think it's going to subside? Yes, CRM's interesting. CRM's making a move. Salesforce is up $7.27. It is up almost 4% right now. Really incredible. Palantir's running. Palantir's up $3.71, 2.45%, everyone. I have not added Hood yet. At the moment, I have not added Hood. Let's do the daily check. Let's see if I'm off the wait list. Daily check coming up on Hood. Let's see. Logging into the app. Clicking on credit card. Dropping my phone. Still on the wait list. Still on the wait list. All right, from Dougie. It should be closer to 100. Biden burned down SPR to try to win the election, and no one ever refilled it. Good for oil production economy. You know what? I'm not going to bug customer support. I'm just going to see how long until I get off. I don't have a concierge team. When you bought Hood, you got off the wait list. You guys are just trying to trick me into buying Hood. You guys are just trying to trick me. Yeah, I'm not going to work on it. They'll ungate me when they ungate me. It's all right. It's all right. The Dow is down 532 right now. S&P down 65. NASDAQ down 284. Bitcoin over 70,000 still. Yeah, Melee, I saw the news earlier. They got downgraded. I didn't look into it. It's not a company I really follow, so I don't want to talk about it because I'll probably say something incorrect. You know, Tanner may or may not be able to get me off the wait list. Yet to be seen. We'll see. Yet to be seen. I like EOG. My top 3 stocks are boring. Everybody knows them. NVIDIA, Amazon, Meta. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. Did SoFi just break 18? No, come on. I would love nothing more than to have a conversation with Anthony Noto and really discuss this. SoFi 1797. It is officially slipping. I mean, I'm in the office. I'm in my home office right now. Palantir is one of the greatest companies I've ever seen. I don't know that it goes much lower, so we'll see. Listen, they can be watching. All good. SoFi, I would. This is not an environment that I would be selling puts on SoFi. The chart just sucks, and I don't know how much lower it can go. Brookfield, I have not looked into for a while. Listen, Anthony Noto has an open invite to come on Basis Points. He has an open invite to come on my channel, although I'd rather him to come on Basis Points and speak with Amit and myself in person. If he's in New York, he has an open invite. ET is not going to move the way the upstreams would if oil stays higher for longer, but we need more energy. So ET should do fine because they are one of the largest transporters in the country. Yeah, Oxy's interesting. I'm surprised Berkshire hasn't acquired the whole company of Oxy. I am very surprised about that. Yeah, there's no beef with Senor Carlson. Him and I are good. Adobe's going to be interesting. So I am going to do the market close today. I will be streaming Adobe live, and we'll go from there. So let's do this, everyone. I'm going to get going. I'm going to get a bunch of work done. I have a couple of meetings I have to get to soon. Listen, medium rare is the only way to eat a steak. Only way. 3:45, I will be back. We will do Adobe. We will do the market close. I have a bell for the close. We will try to entertain everybody. And you cannot join one of my meetings. I apologize. We'll see if anybody comes on with me later, but I will be doing the market close. I will go on StreamYard and I will make the link and put it up there. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Really appreciate it. I'm actually very happy I was able to entertain everybody. So it's all for the community. If the community didn't ask me last night, I probably wouldn't have done this. So I'm just happy to make everybody happy. I do this for you. Thank you very much. And I will see everyone at 3:45. Have a great day. Hopefully we get a little bit of good news throughout the day. See everybody in a few hours.